I'm wondering now if my theory of how negators work and how their powers kind of stem in this world is true. I'm actually really curious now because I read through the chapter and I think now I might have a grasp on it. I don't think there's any straight outright comments to it, but I do have some ideas. But now, like, we get into this chapter, we are finding out more about this whole loop situation, and essentially, like, the way that it's kind of described is you have the universe, right? You have the universe, then you have this god, and Earth will constantly go in a state of like of destruction and rebirth. And what happens is you have like the Earth destroyed and the fragments like of this blown up planet scatter throughout space, and then a new Earth is formed and it kind of goes down the same pathway. And when we have like the meteor, like we got the meteor in chapter 1, that meteorite that, you know, that Izumo summoned, and, you know, any other time that she's done it, it's essentially not just like, oh, space rocks, it's fragments of old Earths. So they're forever just going in a you know, this cycle, but at the same time the old Earth fragments all still exist. So anytime that that Izumo calls down a meteorite, it's going to be of a past Earth, which again is really cool. I like that idea. It makes her you know, this ability that she has have more like lore ties than just like cool, oh yeah, badass, like she's making this big massive rock from space fall down. I think everybody thinks meteors are cool, and so it adds extra weight onto it rather than just being a cool power, which I like that a lot. And with this arc ability, we have Juiz explain how she's able to kind of keep her intelligence, like her, or at least her memories. And it's not just her, it's also Victor. Like when we saw in the previous chapter that was just like her and Victor at a table, just the two of them. And I really liked how you also had like, she's like giving explanation to it, and she's like, oh, Andy, you have a mole right behind your right ear. And then Izumo goes and looks and it's there. Her freaking out I did like, because we know how Andy feels about Izumo, and Izumo is kind of like in this position of sway, like of denial, but also it's kind of obvious. I like that about their relationship. And you can tell the idea of this girl knowing such an like a small detail about Andy's body bothered her, because I think she was able to get the idea of, if these two have always been in you know, in the world together, then she's probably just like, what else have you guys done if your, you know, your relationship is all closer? But it's not Andy, it's Victor. And I think other people are able to think of it too, and for like shipping stuff instantly, which again makes it really intriguing towards their characters. Because say, like, I have a theory already around that, but if it is the shipping portion, like if Juiz and Victor had like a thing in the past, it adds like an extra, it adds like a really good extra, like this component into the story. If Juiz like is pretty much hanging around Izumo and Andy, because she believes that Izumo is a key factor in eventually being able to defeat God. And now Izumo, like I think anybody that would spend any time around Izumo and Andy could tell that there is some romantic like pieces lingering between, not even lingering, just constantly there between them. And obviously Andy does, like, he's very out and open about it. Izumo, you can tell that she just kind of doesn't want to admit it. I mean, she's literally sitting in his lap at this portion, but she now has her key character, and Juiz is just watching Andy, who in a way probably to her is this restricted version of this person that she's known for so long and might have feelings for. It adds a complicated layer onto the main cast, and I like that a lot. But she explains how Victor also has like his memories, and he's been living in the world since death was added. And I think the way that this makes sense is if Andy is Victor without his constantly repeating memories, like his memories that carry over. He's probably wanted to he probably at one point wanted to prevent himself from thinking about it and kind of just live in this state of ignorance and just kind of like living in the moment. not really knowing about what's to come, or you know, where it was before. And it's because of that that he's made Andy. And I think that there's so much potential right now just from this one chapter. But on top of that, like I said, I'm wondering if I figured out how the negator powers work, because they're talking about the rule of death at one point was added, which makes sense. At one point, death probably didn't exist in the world and people just lived, and there probably was no real consequences or ending to life other than the planet resetting. And I'm wondering if the power of the negators is when you have a certain rule added, they are an exception to it. Like, imagine if the rule of death was added and Andy was the one person, or I guess Victor was the one person that was immune to it, that just was exceeded from the rule. And so it'd be like every single thing in the, rules of reality, there's going to be one character that has that doesn't have to abide by that. Like if you had the rule of gravity and it's like, oh, this character doesn't have to abide by the laws of gravity at all, or something like that. Like that would make a lot of sense, I think, for the series. And all these guys would just be like, oh, you are just a rare exception to like one failure point in the universe, or in the quest to defend the universe from the apocalypse. And now, like, things are getting a little bit more spicy. Like, there's a new round table that they've made. It looks like as long as the book exists, that they can make the round table, or at least a replica of it. The book is like the big thing that they need. So she's aware that things are, in a dangerous spot. Things like we now have doing their own portions of the mission, and they have their own agendas kind of going on for how they see the world to go. And I really like this panel where they're not inside their base, they're right outside, like, was it Stonehenge? They have this way more rough table and chair set up, but they're still conducting business. I like that a lot. I think that was really cool, just in a scene, but also to see these characters just kind of all setting up for the the mission, getting ready to proceed with what they have to do. And like Jui's giving, talking to Izumo and saying that, like, she can go investigate this book that might have information towards, like, the past and the future. I really liked her getting up and being very serious about it. And she's like, aye, ma'am, I'm asleep. A couple months ago, she was just this sad girl that just wanted to kill herself and end, like, the horrible pain she would put people through just being around her. And look at her now. She's got a lot more confidence. You can tell that she's way more capable. And she's taking her job very seriously right here. I like that a lot about her. I enjoy Izumo's character. I'm hoping that we can see like some more fruits of her training in the upcoming arc. Like, I'm hoping that we could get like a weaker person than some of the guys we've seen lately that she can fight, because she is capable, but she's not like something like Andy or Juiz or any of these higher end people who know how to fight. Like, they clearly know how to fight. Like, she is new to this like crazy style of world and combat, so obviously she's not going to have the same level of experience as they have, and the same level of training. She's getting there, but I think it would be really good if, going into this next portion when they're going to go kill these 4 Umas, if at some point she gets like to fight maybe like a rookie member of Under, and it's like, okay, this guy is, for whatever plot reason, this character needs to be taken down, and it's not like they're big, but Izumo is in a situation where she has to be the one to do it. I'd like that a lot, and I think it would really just give again, really good growth portions for her series, or for her position in the series rather. But like this book that she's now put in charge of like reading and finding information about is given to her, and it's like it's like a shoujo manga. I thought it'd be like some biblical scrolls, but I think it makes it a little bit more interesting if there's somebody that's been doing it in obviously like a way less conventional way of putting out these secrets in the world, because it's kind of like if you've ever read Blood Lad, they explain how there are certain people that write stories, and it's like lingering memories that they had in like other worlds. So it'd be like if the guy who wrote Lord of the Rings, before he lived that life, in an alternate reality, he lived in a world like Lord of the Rings. And so when he became into I don't know what year he was born, but in our world, he had like the ideas, he still had small bits of memories that linger from that life. So he was able to construct a story that wasn't really he made up, but actually that he remembered. And that's what I'm wondering if it's going to be like for this. And again, that's a really interesting concept I've always really liked. Like, Bloodline is a series I enjoyed, but like it was never on my like big list of series. But that concept has always stuck with me just because I always thought that was a really cool thing that they had in their series. And it'd be cool if we could see that here. And it would make sense, like if there was some person whose maybe power was that they remembered aspects of the other world as well. But anyway, other than that though, comment below, thumbs up the video, but from the like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. Further than that, I appreciate everybody's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.